Well, it's not really the start we were anticipating for the Calgary Flames going into the 2019-20 season. However, if I recall last season, we were on a similar pace here. So we'll see what transpires here. Anyway, it's time for another episode of... Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to another episode of my Calgary Flames in 6 here. Episode 2 of Season 2 here. And just like with the Calgary Hitman latest video, I'm here on the road here as I'm wrapping up my fall foliage trip here, and figures, your last full day and last night on a trip here, skies start clearing out and things are looking a little nicer here, just in time for you to get home here. But it is what it is. But it was nice to get away, and special on the road edition here in Vailmont, British Columbia here. And just like with my Calgary Hitman video, the upload's going to be delayed here when it goes up live, just because of I'm on the road here and don't have high-speed internet here. So if you like and enjoy all I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you like, subscribe with all my sports content here. But speaking of being away on my fall foliage trip, I'm going to have oodles of videos that I captured with all my sightseeing here on this trip here. So as I said in the opening here, it's not the start that we were really wanting for the Calgary Flames here, but it feels like we're on kind of that same pace as we were last year this time, before we really picked it up. And when I ultimately asked that question, are we Stanley Cup contenders here? But looking at the first 6 games, we figured it was going to be a tough start here, and definitely lived up to that. And let's bring up my notes here and let's talk about what happened in the first 6 games of the Calgary Flames in the 2019-20 NHL season here, when it comes up here. So let's get going here, as game 1 was on Thursday, October 3rd here. And as you kept, especially if you watch Flames TV here, the team was definitely focusing on putting last year behind and moving on here. But kind of tough to do that when on Thursday, October 3rd, we were on the road in Denver to take on the Colorado Avalanche at the Pepsi Center, 7 p.m. puck drop. Team that knocked us out in the playoffs last year. So what a way to start off the new campaign here, by facing a team that knocked you out last year. And as familiar feelings from last April started coming back here, because actually Colorado came out swinging here right away here and took advantage of penalty trouble that the Calgary Flames are in. It was Jonas Donskoy, one of the free agent signings that the Colorado Avalanche got from San Jose, actually scored in the power play first 6 minutes in, and Colorado struck first here. Feels familiar from last season in the playoffs there. However, Sean Monahan did answer back for the Flames 3.5 minutes later to tie it up, also on the power play, before Mikko Rantanen scored his first just over 3 minutes later, or 3 minutes left to go in the first period, to give Colorado a 2-1 lead. And that's where we were after the first period. It was 2-1 Colorado, and Mikko Rantanen, just like Matthew Tkachuk, were fresh off of signing their big restricted free agent signings here. And I should also say it was only 2-1 because David Rittich had a strong start to keep it close here. However, the bulk of the scoring in this game happened in the second period here. Actually, Johnny Gaudreau, just under the 2 minutes in, actually ties it up for the Calgary Flames, also on the power play. Then it stayed 2-2 until about the 12-minute mark of the second period, where JT Compher puts Colorado up 3-2, and then Mikko Rantanen scored his second in the game just before the 17-minute mark to make it 4-2 Colorado. However, about 16 seconds later, after when Mikko Rantanen scored, Mark Giordano scored the reigning Norris Trophy winner, to make it 4-3 Colorado, and that's how it stands after the second period there. On a side note here, late in the second period there, Nikita Zaradov hit Austin Czarnik in an awkward position from behind there, and Milan Lucic came to answer the call and danced with Nikita Zaradov there. However, on the play there, Milan Lucic picked up 17 minutes in penalties there, as he got the instigator of the fight and the game misconduct here. And interesting fact here with Milan Lucic, we acquired him to dump James Neal's contract and get a presence on his team here. Actually, every team he debuted with in the NHL here, he had a fight. Every team he debuted with, so that he continued that trend here with the Calgary Flames here. So going into the third period here, Calgary was pressing hard to try to get the equalizer here. However, the only goal that happened in the third period was Jonas Donskoy scored the empty netter to make it 5-3 Colorado, and that's how it ended here. And same old feeling that we got from the playoffs last year, that the Colorado Avalanche definitely look like a team that's about to take the next step here and maybe consider them as strong Stanley Cup contenders here. Colorado did barely outshoot the Calgary Flames 32-20 overall here. However, Colorado able to swing in the first period by outshooting Calgary 14-3 there. Lots of penalties in the first two periods there. However, there was none in the third period there, and I figured that's when Calgary looked its best, when they were playing 5-on-5 there. So who led the way for the Calgary Flames in this game was Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan. Each had a goal and assist for the Flames here. Jonas Donskoy and Mikko Rantanen for the Colorado Avalanche each led with 2 goals there. And then Dave Riddick for the Flames, he made 27 saves for the Flames, while Philip Grubauer also made 27 saves for the Colorado Avalanche here. And then, another thing of keeping up the trend here, well, Calgary's only won 2 opening games to open up a season since the 1994-95 season here, so Calgary definitely has struggled winning the Game 1 of a new NHL season here, and sadly that trend continues here. However, Game 2 on Saturday, October the 5th here at the Scotiabank Saddledome, 8 p.m. puck drop on Hockey Night Canada here. This was the home opener for the Flames to kick off their 40th season in Calgary here. And Calgary actually was looking to, rebound from that opening game loss, and they actually looked strong here at the start here. And Elias Lindholm actually opened the scoring for the Calgary Flames at the 14-minute mark there to make it 1-0, and it was 1-0 Calgary after the first period there. Sean Monahan, just after the first minute of the second period, early, gets Calgary up 2-0 there, and Calgary kept pressing going into the third period there. So that's how it stayed there. It was 2-0 for the Calgary Flames, but Vancouver did also press back hard in the third period there to try to get back in the game, and however, David Riddick definitely showed that he's definitely up for the task to be the number 1 goalie here for the Calgary Flames here. And ultimately, Johnny Gaudreau put away the game with an empty net goal in the final minute to make it 3-0 Calgary, and the Calgary Flames won the home opener 3-0 here over the Vancouver Canucks here. So Johnny Gaudreau led the way. He had a goal and 2 assists, so he's a part of all 3 goals for the Calgary Flames. Vancouver outshot the Calgary Flames 34-30 here, going 18-6 in the third period here. So Dave Riddick has made 34 saves for his second NHL career shutout here, and Mika Markstrom for the Vancouver Canucks had 27 saves in the loss there. So Calgary looked good in their first home game here. How they look in the next home game here for Game 3. This happened on Tuesday, October 8th. This was at 7 p.m. Bucked up at the Scotiabank Saddledome and took on the Los Angeles Kings here. Well, this was definitely another divisional rival game, that one divisional rival that is looked upon to not do as well this year based on many hockey pundits here. And another chapter in the Matthew Tkachuk, Drew Doughty rivalry here. But how to say how the Flames looked in this game, they looked very flat early, and the Los Angeles Kings definitely took advantage of that. Tyler Toffoli opened the scoring for the Kings just under the 3-minute mark, and then Sean Walker adds to the lead late in the first period there. So it was 2-0 Los Angeles after the first period there. And then sniper Ilya Kovalchuk for the Kings early in the second period puts Calgary up 3-0 there. And then Calgary definitely needed a wake-up call, and they got it here as just after the 6-minute mark of the second period there, Los Angeles Kings scored Curtis McDermott, almost need Milan Lucic on center ice there. And then, however, as the play went down in the Calgary Kings end there, Milan Lucic fought Curtis McDermott there in a spirited affair. And then after that, that's when the Calgary Flames started to wake up a little here. Is that at the 11-minute mark, just before the 11-minute mark, Matthew Tkachuk scored the first goal of the game, his first of the season, to put Calgary on the board. And then just 2.5 minutes later, Noah Hanifin for the Flames scored. So just like that, it's 3-2 for the Los Angeles Kings, and it stayed 3-2 for the Los Angeles Kings after 2 periods there. So I say that after the fight that from Milan Lucic there, that's when the Calgary Flames answered back quickly there, and that's one of the reasons why Calgary felt they had a place for Milan Lucic in the lineup here, and definitely provided some energy there when we needed it. And then in the third period here, Calgary was pressing hard to get the equalizer here. And eventually they got the equalizer when it was late in the third period there, where we pulled the goalie here. And just under with a minute to go in the third period, Matthew Tkachuk again batted one in to tie the game at 3-3. Scored his second of the game here to make it 3-3, and ultimately we needed some overtime here. However, before going into overtime here, Sam Bennett took a late penalty there. So when Los Angeles had a 4-3 advantage going in the overtime here, as 3-3 overtime, and you have a team that gets a penalty there, you get an extra attacker because you need at least 3 players on ice for overtime here. However, it was Drew Doughty that got the last laugh in this game here, as he scored the overtime winner on the power play just under the 50 seconds in to give Calgary a 4-3 win here. And ultimately it was a little bit of a, let's say, fortunate that we only lost to in overtime here and actually got a point here, because Los Angeles did outshoot the Calgary Flames 40-29 there, including 20-3 in the first period there. So Calgary definitely started off very slow and flat here, and eventually did come back here and salvaged a point here against the Los Angeles Kings here. So who led the way with the Calgary Flames? Well, obviously Matthew Tkachuk. He had 2 goals and assists there for 3 points. And then on the Los Angeles Kings side of the puck there, Ilya Kovalchuk and Drew Doughty led the way with a goal and 2 assists. So Drew Doughty, Matthew Tkachuk each had 3-point games here, but I'm going to say that Drew Doughty had the last laugh there because he scored the overtime winner there. Dave Riddick, he made 36 saves in the loss there, and I'm not going to say fortunately we got the overtime loss here. And then Jack Campbell for the Los Angeles Kings made 26 saves there. So not looking like the best to start here for the Calgary Flames here. However, the next 3 games, they're on the road here, and but this looks like a tough road trip here as Game 4 on Thursday, October the 10th here. The Calgary Flames went to Dallas at the American Airlines Center for a 6:30 puck drop here, and you could say this was a very entertaining game to start out the road trip here. First period was a balanced attack, no scoring, but no one really stood out to report in the first period there. Second period, it stayed scoreless until the 17-minute mark, where eventually Dallas struck first as Joel Lapriance scored to make it 1-0, and it was 1-0 Dallas after the first period there. Then 9 seconds in the third period there, Jamie Benn scored to make it 2-0 before Calgary finally got on the board here as 3 minutes at the 3-minute mark. Elias Lindholm scored, so it was 2-1 Dallas there. And then Calgary eventually tied it up at the 5.5-minute mark of the third period there, as both teams were going back and forth here. So the Calgary Flames definitely did strike back there after the the Dallas Stars took a 2-0 lead early in the third period there, and it stayed 2-2 well into overtime, or right in regulation where overtime was needed here, and then nothing happened in overtime here. So ultimately, this game needed a shootout here. So Tyler Seguin for the Dallas Stars was first to go, and he shot, and he scored on the first shot, while Sean Monahan answered back and scored on his first shot here. So it was 1-1 in the shootout here. Alexander Radulov missed on his second shot for the Dallas Stars, while Matthew Tkachuk went second and was stopped in the shootout there. Third shooter was Jamie Benn. He was stopped, and the last shooter in the third round of the shootout was Johnny Gaudreau, and he scored on the third shot to give Calgary a 3-2 win in the shootout here. So it was definitely a tight, entertaining game overall that the Calgary Flames eventually pulled one out against the Dallas Stars here. Dallas actually outshot Calgary 36-29 overall here. Dave Riddick made 34 saves in the win for Calgary, and Ben Bishop for Dallas made 27 saves in the loss there. So that was Game 4. Game 5, this happened on Saturday, October 12th here, as the Calgary Flames went to Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. 8 p.m. puck drop on Hockey Night Canada here, and since the Vegas Golden Knights have joined in the NHL here, the Las Vegas has actually come out on top here. I don't know if this is what they mean by the house always wins here, but the Calgary Flames were still looking for their first ever win in Vegas here. But this is only the third season that the Vegas Golden Knights have been in the NHL here. However, as the trend continues here, Vegas got on the board first, 3 minutes in, as Tomas Nosek gives Calgary, or Las Vegas, an early 1-0 lead, and it stayed that way after the first period there. So the Golden Knights had a 1-0 lead there. However, second period, the early part, they actually looked good for the Calgary Flames, as at the 4-minute mark, the Calgary Flames struck twice in 31 seconds. Rasmus Anderson scored the first goal to tie it up, and then 31 seconds later, Johnny Gaudreau. So it was 2-1 for the Calgary Flames early in the second period. However, things were falling apart for the Calgary Flames there, as the Vegas Golden Knights were capitalizing on Calgary mistakes here. First, Mark Stone, who was Michael's brother, who also was playing the game, ties it up at the 6.5-minute mark of the game, so it was 2-2 there. Then William Carrier gives Vegas the lead at the midway mark, and then Paul Stastny passed the 17-minute mark. So just like that, it was 4-2 Vegas after the second period there. I know Calgary was pressing hard on the power play there late in the second period, but Marc-Andre Fleury was strong when he needed to be. However, third period, the Vegas Golden Knights continued their onslaught here, as Ryan Reeves scored to make it 5-2 just past the 5-minute mark, and then Cody Glass finishes off past the 17-minute mark. So it was 6-2 for the Vegas Golden Knights, and that was the final here. And as I mentioned in the opening here, Vegas has won every game against the Calgary Flames in Vegas, so they are 5-0 against the Calgary Flames here. However, the Calgary Flames are 3-1 against Vegas in Calgary here. So, in casino terms, the house always wins, I guess. And then, as I was going to say, 3 Golden Knight players had 2-point games here. It was William Carrier and Mark Stone had a goal and assist there, and then Max Pacioretty chipped in with 2 assists here. David Riddick was in net for all 6 goals here, made 24 saves, while Marc-Andre Fleury definitely outdueled David Riddick there. He made 33 saves in the game there, and actually the Calgary Flames, they did outshoot the Vegas Golden Knights 35-30 there, but I did say at points that Marc-Andre Fleury definitely stood tall there, especially late in the second period there. So so we're split so far on the road trip here. However, last game on the road trip here, Game 6, Sunday, October 13th, the Calgary Flames were taking on the San Jose Sharks here. This was an 8 p.m. puck drop at the SAP Center here, and this is a couple things to note here to look to salvage this road trip, but Cam Talbot actually made his first start for the Calgary Flames in the regular season here. Hoping that his strong play against the San Jose Sharks in preseason will continue on here. And also worth noting that Patrick Marleau, he made his home re-debut with the San Jose Sharks after he played the last 2 seasons with the Toronto Maple Leafs there. So that's another thing worth noting here. However, the San Jose Sharks did score first here, as it's the case with 5 of the last 6 games here, that the Flames allowed the first goal here. As just under 3 minutes here into the game here, Timo Meier scored for the San Jose Sharks here to give San Jose an early 1-0 lead. And then just after the 10-minute mark, Kevin LeBlanc gives San Jose a 2-0 lead here. So that's how it stood after the first period here. And once again, the Calgary Flames had to fight themselves out of a hole here and play catch-up here. However, Calgary was able to get within 1 here in the second period as Elias Lindholm gets his 3rd of the season here. But San Jose late in the second period, shorthanded, actually scored to make it 3-1 here on a goal by Thomas Hertl here. So it was 3-1 San Jose after the second period there. Third period, the Flames were pressing to get back in the game here, as this seems to be the continuing theme here at the Flames early in the season here. However, former Calgary hitman Martin Jones was definitely played strong here for the San Jose Sharks, and definitely a big factor on why the San Jose Sharks were ultimately able to win this game 3-1 here. Calgary did outshoot the San Jose Sharks 33-20 overall here, including 11-3 in the third period there. However, they could not get anything past Martin Jones there. San Jose got 2-point games by Thomas Hertl and Logan with a goal and assist there, and Logan Couture chipped in with 2 assists here. Cam Talbot made his first start with the Calgary Flames, made 17 saves there, while Martin Jones, he made 32 saves for the San Jose Sharks there. So I'm going to still say Cam Talbot looked pretty good for his first start there, but unfortunately the Flames weren't able to get him any offensive support there to record his first win as a Calgary Flame here. So the Flames start off the 2019-20 season 2-3-1 here. So not necessarily best of starts here, but Calgary looked, around 500 last year in October, and eventually picked it up in November. And December is when we started to ask that question: are we still like a contenders here? So looking ahead here for the next 6 games for the Calgary Flames here, they're going to be all over the place here. As Game 7 will be on Tuesday, October the 15th. The Calgary Flames will be back home with a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome as they take on the Philadelphia Flyers here. And then on Game 8, be on Thursday, October the 17th here, the Calgary Flames will take on the Detroit Red Wings at home at the Scotiabank Saddledome for 7 p.m. puck drop here. And then Game 9 on Saturday, October the 19th, the Calgary Flames go to Southern California here as they take on the Los Angeles Kings. That'll be an 8 p.m. puck drop at Staples Center, and that game will be on Hockey Night in Canada here. And the Game 10, Sunday, October 20th, the Calgary Flames take on the Anaheim Ducks at the Honda Center. 7 p.m. puck drop here. Hopefully the Honda Center curse doesn't continue on for the Calgary Flames here. And then on Game 11 here, Tuesday, October 22nd here, the Calgary Flames go back home to take on the Washington Capitals at the Scotiabank Saddledome here. And then Game 12, Thursday, October the 24th, the Calgary Flames will be taking on the new-look Florida Panthers here at the Scotiabank Saddledome, 7 p.m. puck drop. So all those games I'll talk about in Episode 3 here, and that actually works out perfectly that that's where things will stop in Episode 3 here, because after that game, when they take on the Florida Panthers here, the Calgary Flames will be going to Regina to take on the Winnipeg Jets at the Heritage Classic here, but that game will be talked about in Episode 4 here. So that's definitely my Calgary Flames of 6 here to kick off the 2019-20 NHL season here after a busy preseason here. Not necessarily the best of start here for the Calgary Flames here, but I think this start was kind of similar to last year as they were still finding their way here, and looks like also the fact that teams are going to be taking the Calgary Flames a lot more seriously here after having the best regular season in a generation there. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you like, subscribe there, and follow along with that bell icon. I mean, I do these Calgary sports recaps here, but I also do some personal vlogs, and there'll be a bunch of travel videos that I captured on my sightseeing on my fall foliage trip there, and also throw in an odd comedy, attempt at comedy there. So everything's all saved in playlists here, and as I say, go Flames, and I'll see you in the next video, and this video will eventually get uploaded once I get home and get all unpacked and settled, and have my high-speed internet at home. So I'll see you soon.